Hello, Eeloo! We have made it. We are doing our Eeloo mission in Kerbal Space Program. We did this in one giant craft this time instead of sending multiple crafts like we've done in the past. And we are quite proud of what we've actually put together this time. It's not too bad. You can see we've got our 7 nuke engines, probably more than what we actually need. But a ton of fuel, and just push this whole thing all the way out to the edge of the solar system, Kerbal system, Kerbal system, solar system, whatever you want to call it. Shuffling crew around using the crew manifest plugin. Neat little plugin there. So this is our craft. We are going to leave this portion in orbit. It has got our return craft as well as an orbital platform. The orbital platform is actually going to stay at Eeloo. It'll sit here and wait out its days till we ever come back to this little planet. And below it you can see our return craft. But this is the lander vessel. Now the large portion at the bottom, that's mostly empty fuel tanks at this point, and all the nuke engines, those are just going to drop off and crash into the planet below. And what's left is our lander stage. Our Kerbal scientists worked super hard, and they were super proud of this lander stage. It consists of 3 separate parts, all in one lander. We've got our Kethane refinery on the bottom. On the top is our rover, and in the middle, sandwiched between the two of them, is our actual lander stage, where we've got Veronica and Sally Kerman are coming down, and they are going to be the first Kerbals ever, actually ever, to set foot on Eeloo. Our Kerbal engineers wanted this to be a single drop instead of doing multiple drops. So they spent a lot of time figuring out how to get these engines to be just powerful enough to be able to haul this sucker down, but not too powerful in that it's hard to control, and I think they found a pretty good balance. Putting it down on the deck here, the landing gear was worked and reworked over and over. You see us transferring fuel around. Sally and Veronica wanted to go ahead and top up those tanks in both the rover and the lander stage. There's no sense for it sitting in the refinery when we're just going to drill down and pull more out anyway. And here we are, the pride of our Eeloo mission. First the rover. The engineers actually over-engineered this. You can see the 6 little engines on the side of it. We only ever use 4, and even then, they're way more powerful than what we'll ever need on this little rock. But dink! There you go! There's our rover. We're just going to park it there for the time being. Let's see if we can get our lander stage off of our stack. A little unwieldy. I think Sally decided to let Veronica take over the controls, and she is having some fun with it. Put her down, plop, there we go. The girls pause for a quick screenshot before hopping off. We're going to go ahead and get our refinery set up, and let's see if we've done it. Let's see if there's any kethane. And we have green smoke. Ta-da! We got green smoke. We are refining some kethane. Something, something, fill up our tanks, yada, yada. Alright, so let's go get the girls out, set down on Eeloo. So we're going to head out, plant our flag, take a few more screenshots before we head out and explore what Eeloo is like. The bulk of this mission really was this lander, getting these 3 crafts to where they can land successfully, not topple over, separate without breaking anything, and still be 3 separate usable crafts without being too heavy. And, you know, this worked perfectly. The girls set it down first try. Absolutely no problem. I've never had a mission go as successfully as this one did, and be able to land exactly where they wanted to on the first try. The nice thing, too, about doing a single lander is not having to go back and forth and try to land and put wheels on things and drive it over. Our Eve mission taught us tons about how we do not want to have to go through that again. Sally goes out here, she sets up, she plugs in our fuel hoses, we start transferring fuel around, and we are going to spare you guys all the details. I am not going to make you sit through all the filling up of tanks. But again, lessons learned from Eve. The Eeloo mission used a lot fewer tanks, and doing it this way made transferring fuel around so much easier. Having a small refinery did mean that we had to kind of sit around and wait for it to refine and fill up those tanks before we could transfer it over. But let's go into our rover. The rover was a fun one to build. It went through several variations. In fact, if you look closer, you can still see a ladder still on the side that should have been removed at one of the planning stages, but never was. Originally, the seats were going to be right on top, but Veronica came up with this trick of putting the seats right out over the wheels, and it's great. You could actually fit all 4 Kerbals on here, and they're going to take it for a ride. We drove around quite a bit. It's a cool little planet. The gravity is a little bit stronger than the moon, I think, but not nowhere near the gravity of back home. But quit messing around. Let's pop back in, and let's see if we've got enough fuel to head home. We're going to take this puppy up, and we're going to meet back up with the girls in orbit. We meet back up with Diane and Gilly, who've been in orbit this whole time. They are monitoring communications back home. They're monitoring activities on the ground, and they are actually going to stay in orbit around Eeloo for an extended period of time. They're going to continue to do science. They're going to continue to do some experiments for the Kerbal engineers. And they're going to stay at the very edge of the system, way out here at Eeloo, until we can continue the operation. But for now, goodbyes are said, and Sally and Veronica start their burn to come back home. Now, we do all of our maneuver nodes, we do all of our interplanetary transfer, and what's left is our aero capture back home on Kerbin. So here we are, hitting the brakes hard through that atmosphere. The G meter just climbing there at about 8 or 9 Gs. Really, really tough on the gals, but they can handle it. Fire up the engines to finish up that capture burn. And here we are. We're back home around Kerbin. We drop off our transfer stage to crash into the oceans. It'll be salvaged and cleaned up later by the Kerbin cleanup crew. Sally and Veronica point this sucker towards home, and there we go. They're old pros at this. They only needed 1 shot. We didn't have to do a whole bunch of quick saving and reloading. This was the first time. Drop it right down. This close to home. Perfect. These girls know exactly what they were doing. They brought this sucker home. Piece of cake. I can't tell you how much fun it is to do a mission that does not screw up all over the place, that doesn't have a bunch of glitches and problems. And the fact is that everything that we planned worked. Everything worked perfectly the first time even. I can't tell you that I've ever had a mission go this smoothly before. This was great. I had a lot of fun doing it. Engineering was perfect. The pilots are perfect. Landed back home. Pause for pictures. Set our flag. And that's it. Thanks again for watching, guys. I had a lot of fun doing this one. Can't wait to see how the next one goes. Thanks.